I've always found comfort in the hum of my laptop, the steady rhythm of keystrokes as I untangle lines of code. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and I'm deep into a project, some middleware glitch that's been gnawing at me for days. The house is quiet, save for the occasional clink of dishes downstairs where Sarah's puttering around the kitchen. 8 years of marriage, and I still marvel at how she keeps everything so spotless, so orderly. My world is chaos, zeros and ones, endless variables. But hers is tangible, warm, like the scent of fresh bread that sometimes wafts up the stairs. The doorbell chimes, pulling me out of my focus. I glance at the clock. 3:47 p.m. Odd time for a visitor. I hear Sarah's footsteps, light and quick, followed by the low murmur of voices. Curiosity tugs at me, but the bug I'm chasing is stubborn. So I stay put, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Then I catch it. Tom's voice, smooth and familiar, drifting up like smoke. My best friend since college, the guy who once dragged me out of a dorm room spiral with a plate of his famous carbonara. He's a chef now, runs a little bistro downtown. I smile to myself, probably here to show off some new ingredient. I lean back in my chair, stretching my stiff neck, and decide to give my eyes a break. Through the floorboards, I hear Sarah laugh, a bright, unguarded sound I haven't heard in a while. It's not that we're unhappy, just settled, comfortably predictable. I push the thought aside and head downstairs, my socks silent on the hardwood steps. In the kitchen, Sarah's at the counter, her apron dusted with flour, chopping onions with that precise way she has. Tom's beside her, unpacking a canvas bag, pulling out jars and bundles wrapped in brown paper. His chef's jacket is creased, like he's just come off a shift. "Mark," he calls, spotting me in the doorway. Perfect timing. I'm about to corrupt your wife's cooking with some saffron. Sarah glances up, her cheeks flushed. From the onions, I assume, and smiles. "He's insisting on risotto," she says, wiping her hands. "You're staying for dinner, right?" I shrug, leaning against the frame. If Tom's cooking, I'm not saying no. He grins, that easy charm of his lighting up the room, and I feel a flicker of gratitude. Life's been a grind lately. Deadlines, meetings, and having him around breaks the monotony. We spend the next hour like that. Tom stirring a pot, Sarah hovering nearby, me sipping a beer and tossing in the occasional quip. It's normal, familiar. But as I watch them, Sarah brushing past Tom to grab a spoon, their shoulders grazing, I notice something. A pause. A look that lingers a beat too long. Subtle, fleeting, and I chalk it up to my tired brain playing tricks. Still, when Tom leaves later, clapping me on the shoulder and promising to come back with more recipes, I can't shake the feeling that something's shifted. Upstairs, my code waits, blinking impatiently. I dive back in, letting the logic drown out the unease. Days turn into weeks, and Tom's visits become a rhythm I don't question. He shows up with excuses. Fresh herbs, a new olive oil, some spice I can't pronounce. And Sarah's kitchen transforms into his playground. I don't mind. If anything, I'm grateful. Work's been relentless. A cascade of updates and client demands. And coming home to the smell of garlic sizzling in butter is a luxury I don't take for granted. Sarah seems happier too. Her eyes brighter, her step lighter. I tell myself it's the cooking, the break from routine. But I'm not blind. I'm a software engineer. Patterns are my lifeblood. And there's a pattern here, faint but growing. Tom's visits aren't random. They're timed. Tuesdays and Thursdays, always when I'm buried in meetings or late-night debugging. I catch glimpses. Him leaning close to show her how to julienne basil. Her laughter spilling out like it's been bottled up too long. It's innocent, I think. Just friends. Tom's been my rock for years. He wouldn't cross that line. Sarah wouldn't either. Would she? One night, I'm hunched over my desk, the glow of my monitor casting shadows on the wall. It's past 10, and Sarah's downstairs, supposedly cleaning up after Tom left. I'd heard the door close an hour ago, his truck rumbling down the street. My stomach growls, too much coffee, not enough food, so I shuffle down for a snack. The kitchen's dim, the counter's gleaming, but something's off. A cutting board sits by the sink, smeared with tomato sauce. 2 wine glasses, one with a faint lipstick smudge, are tucked behind the coffee maker, like someone didn't want them seen. I freeze, staring at them. Sarah doesn't wear lipstick. Not the bold red kind that leaves a mark like that. My pulse quickens, a dull thud in my ears. I tell myself it's nothing. Maybe Tom brought a bottle to share. Maybe she tried a sip. But the unease from weeks ago creeps back, sharper now. I grab a sandwich and head upstairs, the glasses burning in my mind. The next day, I install a small script on my phone, something I'd built for a client, a location tracker. I don't tell Sarah. I don't even admit to myself why I'm doing it. But when Thursday rolls around and Tom's truck pulls up, I sync it to his phone's signal, piggybacking off our shared Wi-Fi. Just curiosity, I say. Just data. By evening, the app pings. He's at his bistro, then home. Nothing unusual. I exhale, feeling foolish. Still, I leave the script running. It's a month later when the cracks widen. I'm in a meeting, half listening to some VP drone about scalability, when my phone buzzes. The tracker's alert. Tom's not at the bistro. He's here at our house mid-afternoon. Sarah had mentioned a grocery run, but her car's in the garage. I'd seen it on my way out. My stomach twists, a cold knot forming. I mute the call, pull up the home security feed I'd set up last year after a rash of break-ins. The living room camera's offline, disconnected, it says. The kitchen's still live. There they are. Sarah's in that apron I got her for Christmas, her hair loose, stirring something on the stove. Tom's behind her, too close, his hand brushing her waist as he reaches for a spice jar. She doesn't pull away. Instead, she turns, and they're laughing, their faces inches apart. Then it happens, slow, deliberate. He cups her cheek, and she leans in. Their lips meet, soft at first, then hungry, the spoon clattering to the counter. My screen blurs, not from tears. Rage, pure and electric, surges through me. I'm shaking, my laptop slamming shut loud enough to jolt the guy next to me. I mutter an excuse and leave, driving home with my knuckles white on the wheel. The house is empty when I get there. The kitchen pristine except for a lingering scent of saffron and betrayal. I don't confront her. Not yet. I sit at my desk, staring at the security footage I've saved, replaying it until it's seared into me. Then I start planning. I'm not a man of impulse. I build systems, solve problems. This is a problem, and I'll solve it my way. By morning, I've got the outline. A revenge so precise, so devastating, they'll never see it coming. The code's already running in my head. The house feels different now, like a museum of a life I used to live. Sarah moves through it oblivious, humming as she waters the plants, asking me about my day over dinner. I nod, I answer, I play the part. But every word she says, every glance, is a needle under my skin. I don't sleep that night after the footage. Instead, I sit in my office, the glow of 3 monitors bathing me in cold light. My fingers dance across the keys, pulling data, building something. Revenge isn't a scream or a fist. It's a system, a machine I can engineer. I start with Tom. He's the weak link, the one who'll crack first. I know him, his ego, his charm, how he thrives on admiration. I dig into his digital footprint. His bistro's website is a mess of outdated plugins, vulnerable to a basic scrape. Within an hour, I've got his customer list, his suppliers, his payroll. Then I hit his social media, public posts about new dishes, private messages I shouldn't have access to but do, thanks to a phishing link I'd sent him months ago for a tech favor. There's nothing blatant yet, no proof beyond what I saw, but I don't need more. I need leverage. Sarah's trickier. She's careful, her phone locked, her accounts clean. But she's not invisible. I sync her cloud backups to my server, years of photos, texts, receipts. It's a goldmine, and I'm patient. I sift through it all, a detective in my own marriage. There's a pattern. Deleted messages, gaps in her location history, purchases at a boutique I don't recognize. Then I find it. A photo she didn't delete fast enough, buried in a trash folder. Her and Tom, pressed close in his truck, her lips on his neck, the timestamp from a Tuesday I'd worked late. My chest tightens, but I don't stop. I save it, encrypt it, let it fuel me. By dawn, I've got a rough plan. It's not enough to confront them. That's too small, too fleeting. I want them to feel what I feel. Exposed, powerless, broken. I lean back, staring at the ceiling. Tom's bistro is his pride. Sarah's image is hers. I'll dismantle both, piece by piece, and make it look like they did it to themselves. The first step is simple: plant the seeds. I draft an email from a burner account, posing as a disgruntled supplier, and send it to Tom's biggest client. A hint of mismanagement, a whiff of scandal. Nothing provable, just enough to make them look twice. For Sarah, I tweak her social media settings, subtle shifts to publicize posts she'd meant to keep private. Small moves, but they'll grow. I hear her stirring downstairs, the coffee maker gurgling. I shut my screens off and join her, forcing a smile as she hands me a mug. "You look tired," she says, concern in her voice. I almost laugh. "Long night," I reply, sipping the coffee. It's bitter, like the truth I'm swallowing. Weeks pass and I watch my plan take root. Tom's Bistro hits a snag. 2 suppliers pull out after anonymous tips about late payments I fabricated with spoofed invoices. His reviews tank, customers whispering about quality dips I orchestrated with a few fake accounts. He calls me one night, voice tight, asking if I can fix his website. Someone's hacked it, he says, posting complaints he can't delete. I play dumb, offer sympathy, promise to look. I don't fix it. Instead, I tweak the code to amplify the glitch, letting it spread. Sarah notices too late that her carefully curated life is unraveling. Old photos resurface, nothing incriminating yet, just embarrassing moments she'd buried. Her friends text her, confused, asking why she's posting rants about neighbors she never wrote. I've hijacked her voice, a ventriloquist with her accounts, sowing discord. She blames a glitch, spends hours on the phone with tech support. I sit nearby, pretending to work, watching her frustration mount. "Mark, can't you do something?" she snaps one evening. I shrug. "Not my expertise." I lie and turn back to my screen. But it's not enough. I need them to hurt, to see each other as the enemy. I dig deeper into Tom's messages, cracking an old email account he still uses. There it is, proof beyond the footage. Notes to Sarah, gushing about their cooking lessons. Plans to meet when I'm away. One line stabs me. "Mark's clueless, he'd never suspect." I save it all, my hands trembling. Then I craft a new email, forging Tom's tone, and send it to Sarah from his account. "We need to cool off. Too risky. You're not worth it." I watch her check her phone later, her face paling, her fingers hovering over a reply she doesn't send. She doesn't mention it to me, but I see the shift. She's quieter, distracted. Tom stops coming by. Maybe she told him off, maybe he's spooked. I don't care. The silence between them is my victory, but it's still too soft. I want them humiliated, publicly undone. I start phase 2, amplification. I leak a doctored video to a local food blog. Tom and Sarah in his kitchen, blurred just enough to dodge legal lines, suggestive enough to ruin. It's fake, stitched from security clips and stock footage, but it looks real. The blog bites, runs it with a snarky headline. Chef special. More than just risotto? Shares explode overnight. I sit back, watching the metrics climb. Tom's Bistro phone rings off the hook. Angry customers, curious gossips. Sarah's name isn't out yet, but it will be. I've got more ready. Her photo unblurred, cued to drop when the timing's right. For now, I let the chaos simmer, savoring the control. The fallout is beautiful in its brutality. Tom's Bistro shutters within a week. Creditors circling, staff quitting, his reputation shredded. He shows up at our door one night, unshaven, eyes wild. "Mark, you've got to help me," he pleads, pacing the living room. Sarah's upstairs, claiming a headache. I pour him a drink, play the concerned friend. "What happened?" I ask, knowing every detail. He rambles about sabotage, betrayal, how someone's out to get him. I nod, hiding my smirk behind the glass. "Sounds rough," I say. "Any idea who?" He doesn't suspect me. Why would he? I've been his shadow for years, the quiet one who fixes things. Sarah comes down, pale, avoiding his gaze. The tension between them crackles. She thinks he dumped her. He's too broken to explain. I let it fester, excusing myself to check on work. From my office, I upload the next bomb. Her photo, tied to the video, sent to a bigger outlet with a tip about the mystery woman. By morning, it's everywhere, local news, forums, her coworkers' inboxes. She finds out at breakfast, her phone buzzing nonstop. She scrolls, gasps, drops it like it's burning. Mark, oh my God. She whispers, tears spilling. How did this happen? I feign shock, pull her close, let her sob into my chest. Inside, I'm cold, triumphant. We'll figure it out, I murmur, stroking her hair. Tom calls later, furious, blaming her. She screams back, their trust shattered. I listen through the wall, piecing together their collapse. It's not over. I've got one final blow, a masterpiece of cruelty. But for now, I watch them crumble, my hands clean, my vengeance a silent, perfect storm. The house is a battlefield now, though Sarah doesn't know I'm the one firing the shots. She's a wreck, puffy-eyed, jumpy, snapping at me over nothing. Her phone's a constant buzz of notifications, friends and strangers dissecting her life online. The photo I leaked tied her to Tom's scandal perfectly, and the rumors have metastasized. She's not just the mystery woman anymore. She's the villain in a story she didn't write. I play the supportive husband, brewing her tea, murmuring comforts, but every tear she sheds is a brick in the wall I'm building around her. Tom's a ghost. His bistro's boarded up, his truck gone from its usual spot. I track him anyway, his phone's still pinging, thanks to that script I never turned off. He's crashing at a buddy's place across town, probably drowning in cheap bourbon. I don't feel sorry for him. He took what was mine and now he's paying. But I'm not done. The public shaming's a start, not the finish. I want them to choke on their own choices to see no way out. I spend nights in my office refining the next phase. Sarah thinks I'm working late. Ironic, since that's what gave her the window with Tom. My screens hum with activity. Bots I've coded to amplify the gossip, fake profiles stirring the pot. I hack into her email, subtle as a whisper, and plant a thread. Messages between her and a non-existent lawyer, hinting she's planning to sue Tom for dragging her into this. I bounce it through proxies, make it look like she sent it. Then I accidentally forward it to Tom from her account, with a panicked note, asterisk, how did this get out? Asterisk he bites, texting her in a fury. She denies it, of course, but the seed's planted. They're clawing at each other now, trust in ashes. Downstairs, she's on the couch, scrolling through the wreckage of her reputation. Mark, she says, voice trembling. I don't know how this keeps getting worse. I sit beside her, squeeze her hand. People are cruel. I say, my tone soft, my mind razor sharp. We'll get through it. She nods, clinging to me, oblivious that I'm the architect of her nightmare. I almost feel bad, almost. Then I remember her lips on his, and the guilt evaporates. The bots do their work overnight. By morning, the fake lawsuits trending locally, forums buzzing with speculation. Tom's name's mud. Sarah's a punchline. I sip my coffee, watching her unravel as she reads the latest headlines. This isn't true, she cries, slamming her phone down. I'd never sue him. I raise an eyebrow, feigning confusion. Then who's doing this? She has no answer, and that's the beauty of it. Doubt creeping in, a slow poison. I escalate the game the next week, turning their betrayal into a spectacle they can't escape. Sarah's off work. Her boss suggested a break after clients complained about the drama. She's home all day, pacing, muttering about fixing this. I'm her rock, or so she thinks, suggesting therapists, lawyers, anything to keep her spinning. Meanwhile, I'm building something bigger, a digital guillotine. I've got hours of footage now, not just that kitchen kiss. The security system's been recording for months. Every glance, every touch, every lie. I edit it meticulously, stripping context, amplifying the betrayal. Sarah giggling as Tom feeds her a spoonful of sauce. Their hands brushing over a cutting board. A late-night hug that lingers too long. It's raw, intimate, undeniable. I splice it with audio, snippets of their fights, pulled from hacked voicemails, making it look like a confession. Then I package it as a leaked exposé, branding it with a fake whistleblower's logo. I don't release it yet. Timing's everything. Instead, I mirror it to their devices. Tom's laptop first. I remote in, drop the file in his downloads, set it to autoplay when he logs on. He'll see it soon, a reflection of his ruin. For Sarah, I rig our smart TV. She's watching some mindless show one evening when it flickers, replaced by the montage. Her gasp echoes through the house as she fumbles with the remote, but it's locked. My doing. I rush in, pretending panic. What's happening? I yell, unplugging it as she sobs. The image is burned into her. It's us, she whispers, horrified. How did they get this? I shake my head, acting baffled. Someone's targeting you, I say, pulling her close. She's trembling, and I feel a twisted satisfaction. Tom calls minutes later. She puts it on speaker, too shaken to hide. He's screaming, accusing her of leaking it. You set me up, he shouts. She denies it, voice breaking, but he hangs up. I watch her crumble, the fracture between them widening. That night, I push the video online, anonymous as always. It spreads like wildfire, local news picks it up, then bigger outlets. Affair caught on tape, chef and wife's secret life. The headlines lurid, perfect. Comments flood in, tearing them apart. Sarah's unrecognizable to me now, a shell staring at walls. Tom's radio silence breaks with a single text to me. Asterisk. I'm done, man. Help. Asterisk. I don't reply. Let him drown. The chaos peaks, and I'm the puppet master pulling every string. Sarah's a pariah. Neighbors whisper, her family calls less. She's taken to sleeping downstairs, avoiding me like I'm a stranger. I don't push her. I don't need to. The world's doing my work. Tom's worse. His buddy kicked him out, and the tracker shows him bouncing between motels. His life's a husk, and I'm not finished. I unveil the final piece. A website, sleek and anonymous, titled Asterisk, The Cost of Trust. Asterisk, it's a shrine to their downfall. The video, screenshots of their messages, timelines I've reconstructed. I add a twist, fake financial records suggesting Tom used bistro funds for their dates, and a forged diary from Sarah, detailing her relief at fooling me. None of it's real, but it's convincing, layered with just enough truth to stick. I launch it quietly, tipping off a few gossip hounds. Within hours, it's viral. Sarah finds it first, a friend texting her the link. She screams my name, staggering upstairs, laptop in hand. Look at this, she cries, shoving it at me. I skim it, feigning horror. This is insane, I say, voice steady. Who'd do this? She's hysterical, ranting about lawsuits, but she's got no fight left. Tom's reaction comes via voicemail. He's slurring, broken, begging me to fix it. I delete it, unmoved. The site's the kill shot. Tom's creditors sue, convinced he's a thief. Sarah's shunned, her name poison. They're isolated, blaming each other, oblivious to me. I sit back, watching the analytics, thousands of hits, their shame a public feast. It's cruel, yes, but it's justice. They betrayed me in shadows. I've dragged them into light. And I'm still not done. One last twist waits, sharper than anything yet. The house is a tomb now, silent except for Sarah's occasional sobs echoing from the guest room. She's abandoned our bed, her belongings scattered like she's half-packed to flee. I don't stop her. Let her run. She'll find no escape. The website's done its job. Her name's a curse word online, her face a meme. She's quit her job, officially on leave. But we both know she's never going back. Friends have ghosted her, family's distant. She's alone, and I've made it so. Tom's a wreck too. The tracker pings him at a dive bar downtown, then a seedy motel. His bistro's auctioned off. Creditors swarmed after the fake financial leaks. He's got nothing left, not even pride. I see his posts online, sporadic and desperate, pleading innocence to an audience that's already judged him. I could stop here, call it even. But even isn't enough. They didn't just take my trust. They took my peace, my life's quiet order. I want them to feel that loss forever. I refine the next step in my office, screens glowing like a war room. The site's traffic's plateaued, time to reignite it. I've held back one piece of footage, the rawest yet. Sarah and Tom in our backyard last summer. A cooking break that turned into a tangled embrace by the grill. I'd missed it then, too buried in work. Now it's my weapon. I edit it tight, overlay their own words. Snippets from hacked calls where they mock me, laugh at my clueless nature. He's always coding, Sarah says in one, her voice light, cruel. It's a dagger every time I hear it. I don't just post it. I mail it, USB drives to their families, her old coworkers, his former staff. Anonymous, untraceable, each labeled asterisk, the truth. Asterisk, then I push it to the site with a new headline. Asterisk, love built on lies. Asterisk, the fallout's instant. Sarah's sister calls, furious, leaving a voicemail she deletes mid-sentence. Tom's dad, a gruff old guy I'd met at holidays, shows up at the motel. I watch via a hacked traffic cam as they argue in the parking lot, Tom slumping against his truck. Sarah finds the USB in our mailbox that afternoon, plays it on her laptop before I catch her. Mark, this is sick, she whispers, tears streaming. Who's doing this? I hug her, my face a mask of concern. I don't know, I lie, but we'll fight it. She clings to me, and I feel nothing, just the hum of victory in my veins. Online, the video's a wildfire again, comments vile and unrelenting. They're not people anymore. They're a cautionary tale. Sarah breaks the next day. She's on the phone with her mom, begging through tears. When the line cuts off, her mom hangs up. She stares at the screen, then hurls it across the room. It shatters against the wall, and she collapses, a heap on the floor. I watch from the stairs, silent. I can't do this, she mutters over and over. I don't comfort her this time. Let her feel the weight. Tom's not faring better. I've tapped his bank account, easy enough with his sloppy security, and drained what little he had left. Not much, just enough to push him over. I reroute it to a fake charity, leave a trail suggesting he donated it in a drunken fit. His landlord evicts him that week, no rent, no mercy. The tracker shows him at a shelter now, a dot on my map. I imagine him there, unshaven, broken, and it's almost enough. Almost. I tighten the screws on Sarah. Her car's GPS. I've hacked that too, starts glitching, sending her to dead ends when she tries to leave. Her bank cards decline. A system error I've triggered with a few well-placed overrides. She's trapped, financially, physically, emotionally. Mark, something's wrong, she says one night, frantic, showing me the rejection texts from her bank. I frown, promise to call them. I don't. Instead, I tweak her phone. Random calls from blocked numbers, silent breathing on the line. She's jumpy, paranoid, seeing enemies everywhere but me. The site's still live, a monument to their ruin. I add a forum, let the vultures pick at them. Users post theories, some too close to the truth. I shut those down, keep the narrative mine. Sarah finds it again, late one night, staring at her laptop like it's a guillotine. They hate me, she whispers. I nod, solemn. It'll pass, I say, knowing it won't. Tom tries to fight back. Emails me a rambling plea, says he's sorry, begs for help. I archive it, unanswered. I'm winning, but it's hollow. The rage is fading, replaced by a cold emptiness. I've crushed them, yet I'm still here, in this house with her shadow. I need one more move, something to seal it, to feel whole again. I start sketching it out, a finale so sharp it'll cut them both to nothing. The endgame begins quietly. Sarah's a husk now, barely eating, speaking in monosyllables. She's stopped fighting the chaos, just drifts through the house like a ghost. I've stripped her of everything. Job, friends, dignity. And she doesn't even suspect me. Tom's vanished from the tracker. His phone's dead? Battery or ditch? I don't care. I assume he's hit rock bottom. Good. But I need closure. A confession to crown my work. I rigged the TV again, this time with a live feed. I've planted cameras, tiny, hidden, in the guest room where Sarah sleeps, in the kitchen where it started. I hacked Tom's old webcam too, guessing he's still got his laptop. It works. He's in a grimy room somewhere, staring at nothing. I splice the feeds together, stream it to the site with a timer. Asterisk, final truth, 24 hours. Asterisk, then I route it to our TV, lock the controls and wait. Sarah's downstairs when it flickers on. She freezes, seeing herself on screen, pale, disheveled, curling up on the guest bed. Then Tom appears, slumped in his corner, muttering. A voiceover kicks in, mine, distorted, reading their own words from those hacked messages. Mark's clueless? Never suspect? It loops relentless. She screams, bangs the TV, but it won't stop. I rush in, shocked, yanking cords that do nothing. What is this? I yell, mirroring her panic. She breaks then, fully. It's true, she sobs, sliding to the floor. Me and Tom, I'm sorry, Mark. It's raw, unprompted. Everything I wanted. I record it, my phone hidden in my pocket. Why? I ask, voice shaking, not all acting. She spills it. Months of stolen moments, guilt buried under thrill. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispers. I nod, silent, letting her drown in it. Tom's feet cuts later, he smashes his laptop, I assume. Doesn't matter. The site's live, her confession uploaded, timestamped. It's the final nail. Undeniable, public, eternal. Views skyrocket, their names trending again. Sarah locks herself in the guest room. I don't follow. I sit in my office, watching the numbers climb, feeling nothing. Victory's mine, but it's ash in my mouth. They're destroyed, and I'm still here, alone with the wreckage. One last move, I think, something to end it for good. The house is a crypt now, heavy with silence and despair. Sarah's barricaded herself in the guest room, hasn't come out since her confession hit the site. I hear her sometimes. Muffled cries, the creak of the bed, but I don't knock. She's a stranger to me, a shadow of the woman I married. The world's feasting on her words, the video looping across screens, her tearful, I'm sorry, Mark, a viral soundbite. Tom's gone dark, his feed's dead, his location lost. I assume he's running or worse. I don't care. They're both husks and I've hollowed them out. But I'm not finished. Victory's bitter, incomplete. I've torn their lives apart, yet I'm still tethered to this ruin. Our home, our past. I need a final break, a severance so absolute they'll never recover, and I'll be free. I sit in my office, screens dark for once, thinking, revenge has been my craft, precise and cold. But this last act demands something visceral, something they'll carry in their bones. I start with Sarah. She's fragile, teetering. I've got her confession, but I want her to see the depth of her fall. I hack her email again, draft a message to her old boss, her parents, her few remaining friends. An apology, laced with shame, admitting every detail of her betrayal. I make it raw, humiliating, her own voice turned against her. Then I send it, timestamped to look like she hit send in a midnight breakdown. Replies flood in, disgust, pity, silence. She'll find them tomorrow. Another layer of her world collapsing. For Tom, I go physical. I've tracked his truck. It's parked at a junkyard. Abandoned. I drive there at night, hood up, gloves on. The cab's a mess. Empty bottles, crumpled receipts. I plant evidence. Forged notes in Sarah's handwriting, suggesting she's plotting to frame him for harassment. Then I tip off the cops anonymously. A concerned citizen, reporting a suspicious vehicle. They'll find it, question him, drag him back into the light he's hiding from. He'll think she's betrayed him again, and she'll think he's striking back. A perfect circle of mistrust. I return home, adrenaline buzzing. Sarah's doors still shut. I upload the last site update, photos of the truck, the notes, a cryptic asterisk, who's lying now? Asterisk, and watch it spread. The forum explodes, theories flying. I lean back satisfied. They're not just ruined. They're enemies, locked in a cage I've built. But it's still not enough. I need them to face me to see what they've made. I force the end the next morning. Sarah's awake. I hear her pacing, muttering. I knock, loud, unrelenting, until she opens the door. She's a wreck, hair tangled, eyes red, clutching her phone like a lifeline. We need to talk. I say, voice flat. She nods, hollow, follows me to the living room. I've set it up. The TV's on, looping her confession, the site open on my laptop. She flinches, but I don't stop. Sit, I order, and she does. Tom arrives an hour later. I texted him from a burner, pretending to be Sarah, begging him to come. He's ragged, beard patchy, clothes wrinkled, looking like he's slept in a ditch. He freezes seeing me, then her. What's this? He rasps. I shut the door behind him, lock it. Closure. I say calm, deadly. I play it slow. You both thought I'd never know. I start pacing. Thought I was too busy, too blind. Sarah's crying. Tom's staring at the floor. I pull up the footage. The kitchen kiss, the backyard embrace, every moment I've hoarded. Look at it. I snap, and they do, shrinking under the weight. You took everything. My trust, my home, and laughed about it. Sarah chokes out, Mark, please. But I cut her off. No, you don't get to beg. I reveal pieces, how I've dismantled their lives, step by step. The bots, the leaks, the site. Not all of it, just enough to twist the knife. Tom's jaw drops. Sarah gasps, realization dawning. You? She whispers. I smile cold. Me. Tom lunges, fists clenched. But I sidestep, let him crash into the couch. You're done, I tell him. Both of you. I drop the final bomb. The cops are looking for you, Tom. Sarah's notes in your truck. And Sarah, your family's done with you. Check your email. They scramble, panicked, turning on each other. You set me up? Tom yells at her. You ruined me. She screams back. I watch, silent, as they unravel. My presence a specter they can't escape. It's chaos, beautiful and brutal, and I drink it in. They leave broken. Tom storms out first, swearing at Sarah, at me, at nothing. She follows, sobbing, clutching a bag she'd barely packed. I don't stop them. The door slams and the house falls still. I sit in the silence, the TV dark, the laptop closed. It's over. They're gone. Lives shattered, souls scarred, and I'm alone with the wreckage. The site's still live, a monument to their ruin. I let it run a day more, then wipe it. Servers scrubbed, traces erased. No evidence links me. I'm a ghost in the machine. Sarah's car vanishes that night, GPS dead, her trail cold. Tom's arrested by noon, the junkyard tip paying off. They'll blame each other, forever trapped in the hell I've spun. I don't care where they go. They're nothing to me now. I walk the house, room by room. The kitchen's sterile, no more saffron, no laughter. Our bedroom's empty, her side of the closet bare. I feel not triumph, not relief, just a void. I've won, but at what cost? My hands built this code, cunning, cruelty, and now they're idle. I pour a whiskey, sit on the porch, watch the sun set over a neighborhood that doesn't know me anymore. Days later, I sell the house. Too many ghosts. I move west, a new city, a new job, clean slate, they call it. I don't look back. Sarah and Tom fade into rumors. A cautionary tale whispered online, then forgotten. I don't track them. I don't need to. They're living my revenge every day. Isolated, haunted, hollowed out. It's enough. Sometimes late at night I see her face, smiling before all this. Or Tom's, clapping my shoulder at some college party. Memories flicker, sharp and unwanted. I push them down, focus on the present. My screens, my work, my solitude. I'm free, I tell myself. Free of them, of the past. But the emptiness lingers. a quiet price I didn't expect. I sip my drink, stare at the stars, and wonder if justice was worth the silence.